and she ambassador built an impressive career in diplomacy, international business, and investment development. Before her current appointment to Italy, she served as an ambassador of Georgia, to Hungary and Montenegro during 2023 and 2025. But prior to that, she was an ambassador of North Macedonia and Bulgaria from 2018 to 2023. Also, I would like to highlight that Ambassador Liluashvili has also key economic leadership positions, including first deputy of director of the Georgian National Investment Agency, investment advisor at Enterprise Georgia, deputy of CAO for investment and international relationships at RMG, the Rich Metal Group.
Hello, guys. I'm Alexandra from Georgia, too. Thank you for being here. I'm so honored to represent you today. Her Excellency holds a truly international educational background. She earned her bachelor's degree in international relations from Agnes Scott College in Atlanta and later pursued studies in international business marketing and trade at the American University in Washington, D.C. She went on to complete a Master Business Administration in a Global Management at the Grenoble Graduate School of Business in France. In 2018, she was honored as Donald Rumsfeld Fellow and served as a visiting scholar at the American Foreign Policy Council Central Asia Caucasus Institute, further deepening her expertise in international affairs and regional diplomacy. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure and honor to be in front of you today, representing my country of Georgia. And it's even more special to be here as I have been introduced by Georgian students. And I'm always glad to meet bright Georgian students all over the world. I myself have spent a lot of time abroad. I studied abroad. My interest in international relations came from my studies abroad, and it's a very quick story I'll tell you. When I was 14 years old, I went to America from Georgia, from country of Georgia in 1992. I went to Atlanta, Georgia. To study. I was in high school, and let me tell you, at that time, no one knew where Georgia was. I was in the state of Georgia, coming from the country of Georgia. And the entire years of high school and then later on at the university, all I did was to explain to my peers, to my teachers, to my friends where Georgia was, that I was not from the state of Georgia, but the country of Georgia. Today, I am glad to see so many of you who I assume that you know where country of Georgia is, and you're interested to know what happens in the country of Georgia and what we do here in Italy as the representation of our country. First of all, I would say that Georgia is a very unique country located at the crossroads of East and West, where civilizations meet. Georgia has always been a very crucial part in the world politics, and it has played a very vital role in connecting East and West. And today, even more than ever before, Georgia plays a very critical role in connecting the two parts of the world, especially in today's very volatile and very uncertain world situation. I would also like to say a couple of words about Georgia and Italian relations. Our friendship and bond are very strong. Georgia has been experiencing very favorable and very friendly relations with Italy, and our diplomatic relations count over 30 years with Italy. We have a great friendship that are built on shared values, mutual respect, Our cultures are in ways similar, our religion of Christianity that brings us together. And also would like to add that Italy has been very supportive and um, very supportive in Georgia's path onto the European integration. I prepared a bit of speech, and now I think maybe I will read a couple of aspects from my speech. I will not bore you for a long speech, but afterwards we can engage in a conversation. I'd be glad to answer your questions, whether it's related to Georgia, whether it's about the career of a diplomat, and so on. And please feel free to ask me, even if something comes up during my talk, you can certainly ask me the questions. And so what I want to go on and say is that Georgia and its sovereignty, uh, as students of, I assume it's the international relations, political science, and such directions, you are familiar what a sovereignty means. And for a country, having its sovereignty is one of the most important aspects of its national identity. For Georgia, sovereignty, its territorial integrity is one of the priorities. Georgians are a very proud nation, and this also coincides with our pride. And this is also a choice of Georgian people to have a sovereign country, sovereign state. The choice of people of Georgia has also been a long-lived journey and the will to become a member of the European Union. And right now, Georgia is one of the most vulnerable countries in Europe. We have no NATO security umbrella. We have no European Union security umbrella. Georgian territories are occupied, 20% of its territories are occupied by Russia. Facing current security challenges in the region, maintaining peace is very vital and important for Georgia. As we look over the current situation in the world and current global and regional challenges, it is important to highlight the region that Georgia is in, the Caucasus region, especially now with the ongoing conflict, a war in Ukraine. The importance of this region has become even more brought up to the front lines. The region's role is growing, and it's expected to grow in the future with the greater prospects for cooperation with Asia and there are many several major projects at the moment going on that require the usage of this region where Georgia is. And even more now, Georgia is becoming a very important actor in this situation. Georgia has gone through many reformations, has gone through set of developments, reforms. It has become one of the leading reformers among the post-Soviet republics. It's been always referred to as the star country, especially in the Eastern Partnership group. In 2023, Georgia was granted a candidate status that's once again solidified Georgia's will and Georgian people's will to become a part of this European family. Since then, there's been nothing but tireless work done to achieve this goal. And it is very important to note that the European membership is written in the Georgian constitution. Regardless of what, Georgia's ultimate goal is to be a member of the European Union and Euro-Atlantic Union. And this is something that every Georgian citizen has known for and has cherished and is doing everything to work toward, including many aspects of reforms that have been taken on by the government, by the current administration that recently has announced that it has put European membership efforts aside, which does not once again mean that it has stopped the will and desire and the strive to become a member of the European Union. What this step was geared towards is the fact that, as you very well know, becoming a member of the European Union takes many years, takes many aspects. It has many chapters to cover. It has many criteria to meet to first to qualify, then to fully become a member of the European Union. And Georgia has decided that it will take this time to make sure that they are aligned with the overall European Union requirements, and that for 2028, Georgia once again will be ready and will do an official announcement and apply for the membership. And then from then on, the second part and the most important part of the work starts to finally become the member of the European Union. I'm curious to know what countries you're from, and then maybe when I finish, we can maybe let me know what regions of the world you're in. But one that what I would like to share with you is that over decade, Georgian population has been very adamant about becoming a member of the European Union, and over 80% of Georgians still till this day are very much on the same thought and desire to become a member of the European Union. European Union needs Georgia as much as we need European Union. The first, it's the location, strategic location of Georgia. Second, it's the contribution that we as a country can make into the big European family. And we want to be, for that, we want to be a sovereign, independent, with a national identity, strong national identity country that we can contribute fully to this European family. Georgia is a small country, 3.5 million population. Natural resources are not great. We do not have oil, we do not have gas. What we strive and pride on is our culture, our tourism, our Georgian character and hospitality, and we have done quite well. Despite the challenges, Georgia has experienced an economic growth in 2 digits for the past couple of years, which is hard to say for many of the larger countries. And now when we are at the very challenging times for Georgia, especially, not taking into consideration the entire world, it is very important to keep the dialogue that Georgia so much desires for, to make sure that this country is not left out, that this country is open for communication with and to have a dialogue with, to see what it is that have put some strengths and what has put some dents, let's say, in the relationships between Georgia and the European Union. And I'm sure that you have studied and learned and are aware that the current relations between Georgia and the European Union are at not the best of position, but what we all can do is to ask for the open dialogue, to ask for communication, to see where we can come to an agreement, where we can make our voice heard. And lastly, I will finish and then I'd be glad to answer questions. I hope you have some questions for me. I would like to derive from this plea for dialogue, I would like to reiterate the importance of diplomacy today, and especially today when we see that diplomacy has had a very favorable result recently with the ceasefire in Gaza. And I would ask you all, those who someday become diplomats, to remember that your actions, your decisions, and words will have a lasting effect on the community around you, on the world that you live in, and to have an open mind. And I wish you all success in your studies. Diplomacy is a wonderful profession. I would strongly encourage those who consider this to pursue further and make the world a better place to live. Thank you, and I'll be glad to take questions.
Okay. Thank you for your amazing speech. I wanted to ask you, as a Georgian who deeply believes in our country's European future, I'm worried by the government's increasingly critical tone toward the EU. The recommendations for progress have been clear, but recently some government representatives have described these EU recommendations as manipulation and blackmail. So do you think that making that such statements toward the EU is a diplomatic way to address disagreements, or could it risk distancing us from our European partnership?
Do you take more than one
I'd
question?
rather do one at a
One
time
at
if
a time.
it's possible. I will try to be very diplomatic to answer you this, but friendship is both ways. So you give and you take on both sides. At the moment, it seems that's why I mentioned dialogue. There's no opportunity to have a dialogue. When you sit face to face, there you can talk your differences out, you can come to an agreement. So in this situation, when there is no actual opportunity to exchange the views and only have opinions derived from one sided, very biased opinion, it's very hard. So the solution is to hear both sides. I'm sure the European Union has criticism towards Georgia, and Georgia has criticism towards European Union. So does every country, towards each other. But there is an opportunity to talk it out. There is a ways to come to an agreement. If something that I don't like about you, I will tell you, and then I will try to talk that with you, and you explain why you're doing what you're doing. I accept or not, but this is the opportunity we're not giving. So we need to have this opportunity to hear us and not have the opinions and actions derived from a very biased one-line information that comes to them.
Thank you. Mr. Ambassador, my name is Aslı and I'm from Turkey. So we are neighbors. I wanted to ask about the Artsakh-Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. It is a conflict that is very near and very important to Georgia. And Georgia is also home to both these nations in minorities. So I wanted to ask, how does Georgia both maintain good relationships with both Armenia and Azerbaijan, whilst also ensuring the integration of its minorities, given that these nations are very not interested, but like they really have a lot of conflicts, especially in the countries they have minorities in, such as the United States, Turkey.
Well, luckily, there is a peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan reached, and which is a guarantee for the future stability of the region. Georgia has always played a very intricate role between the two countries, because if you look at the map, you have Georgia, Armenia on one side, Azerbaijan on the other side. We have, from history, very good relations with both nations. We have a very large Azeri minority in Georgia, and we have very large Armenian minorities in Georgia. And we have managed through the conflict, when there was a conflict, to maintain a very neutral stance, and have always aided in remedying relations between the two countries. Georgia has been used for the three-way summits between the leaders of both countries to come together, to have an agreement, to have a solution to their conflict. And today, when the conflict is resolved and there is a hope and likelihood of the lasting peace, Georgia will continue its neutrality. We have very good relations with both countries, and so we do with Turkey. And yet again, this says how volatile Georgia is and in what kind of a region we are, that it is important to keep Georgia within the friendly group for the future stability of the region. I hope it answered your question.
Hello, my name is Nehir. I'm also coming from Turkey, but my family is also from Caucasia. We are Cherkess people. And in Turkey, we have so many associations for Caucasia, which includes like Cherkess people, Chechen people, Abhazians, Georgians, and for a fact that Georgia is the first country that recognized the genocide against Cherkess people. And my question is for the Abkhazia region. And given that Abkhazia remains under Russian occupation, posing a serious challenge to Georgia's territorial integrity, and that this situation also hinders Georgia's path to NATO membership, how does the Georgian government balance these two strategic priorities, and what kind of concrete supports does Georgia expect from countries like Italy on both fronts? Thank you.
To start from the last part of your question, Italy has always been very supportive and in line with the international community in recognizing Georgia's sovereignty and its territorial integrity. In 1992, I believe the territory Abkhazia, which is on the Black Sea coast, has been lost for Georgia and occupied by Russians. It is something that hinders Georgia to enter NATO because Article 5 of NATO says that country to be a member of the NATO alliance has to be within its sovereign territory and borders, which at the moment Georgia is not. Now the country's strategy to solve this is that first of all, in a peaceful manner, because with the past recent history, we see that going against Russia militarily is impossible, especially for a small, tiny country like us. We saw that in 2008, a 5-day war took place in Georgia when Russians occupied the other side of Georgia. There was no aid. There was no reaction from the entire world. The world were at the Olympic Games in Beijing at the time. So we learned from the history that whatever happens between us and Georgia, between us and Russia, we're left alone. So at the moment, there are considerations to see how peacefully try to regain the territories that were lost. It's been 30 years. Time stopped in that region 30 years ago. And many who left that region are very disconnected from it. So it's amongst the Georgians too, there is a very mixed emotions about returning back to a place that they do no longer feel any connection to. But to answer your question, what the government does to solve this and to get the country in the NATO membership is first to see if the NATO will change its view on Georgia's membership, which is possible. It has been done before. And then second, to see how peacefully can negotiations be started to return the territories to Georgia.
Thank you very much for your speech, and we're delighted to ask your question. Georgia always wanted, and it's obvious, like to become a family of the European Union, and like from the past historical experiences, Georgia always had a strategic friend. If we like look at the history, Byzantine, Roman Empire, then France, and also we always wanted to become like part of Europe. It's obvious. But the main point and main reason was because we're surrounded by the empires, Persian Empire, Mongolian Empire, and then Russia. And my question is mainly concerning the current situation with Russia because it's kindly really tough question to ask. What do you think? Because my father was from the occupied um, parts, like from Abkhazia, from Sukhumi. He was raised there. He had like 2 wars in Georgia in Sukhumi and also in 2008. And my family really participated, and we had like really harmed from that wars. But I'm really concerned. What you think as a representative of the country? Should Georgia be completely isolated from the Russia, like the negotiate, or we should negotiate and cooperate with them, but not become friends to like maintain the peace in Georgia, because peace is mainly the one of the main points Georgia can develop. Without the peace, we are like always degrading. It's a fact.
Very good question, very tough question. So what do we do? How do we deal with Russia? I think every country wants to know the answer to that question. I think every country has something that they would like to clear up with Russia. but also to take in consideration that most of the members of European Union countries have Russian embassies in their countries, and they have their embassies in Russia. Georgia has no diplomatic relations with Russia, has not had diplomatic relations with Russia since 2028, and connection of Georgia to Russia is greater, much less than any other European country now has connection to Russia. How do we deal with this? What do we do? Do we isolate ourselves? We, because of our location, cannot isolate ourselves. We have no other way. We are in that territory, we're in that region. So we have to learn how to live with an enemy, to put it simply. Now, what is that theory of how you live well with the enemy? That's another question, but there's got to be somehow some kind of a strategy where you just have to, because you can't cut that part of the world out of the map and throw it away. It's always going to be there, whether it's strong or small or empire or not, it's there. And we also know that all empires come to an end. Roman Empire, a great empire, came to an end. But you can't sit there and wait till the Russian Empire comes to an end. But in this case, I think the key is to learn how to live with an enemy. That's all. I think there's a question.
From this side first. Good morning. I'm Tanjima. I'm from Bangladesh. Well, I'm not European, or I don't belong to this part of the world. But in your speech, you have mentioned your connection with Asia. So I would ask something about my part of the world. I'm from South Asia. And I would like to know, how is the diplomatic relation with South Asia, specifically with Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and so, etc. Because I think Georgia is very interested in the EU and expanding their relations with EU countries. But what is Georgia's stand on extending both diplomatic and trade relation with this part of the world? Thank you.
Very nice question. Thank you. I will tell you that, yes, Georgia is very keen on European membership. However, because its location, it is very much connected to the other side of the world. And next week, Georgia is hosting a Silk Road Forum. It is an annual event that we host in Georgia where it brings the entire world in Georgia to talk about the importance of the Silk Road. And the Silk Road is the Asian part of the world. So Georgia has has wonderful relations with especially the South Asian countries, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Now we're getting into the other parts. What we have here on the European side, or we kind of try to settle amongst us, that's another story on that side of the world. And at some aspects, maybe not talked as much as it should be on our side of the world. But Georgia tries to be very cordial with all the, especially Asian countries. Once again, I feel like I'm reiterating and repeating myself because it's location. We have no other way, we have no other choice to be connected and to be in good relations with all the countries. Georgia has a free trade agreement with China. It has free trade agreement with India. It has free trade agreement with Hong Kong, Singapore, agreements that many other European countries might not have. So that's also our advantage that we are offering to many of the European countries, the investors who come to Georgia, that they can utilize all of these free trade agreements that we have with the Asian countries, Middle East, that they might not have in their country. So the answer is that we are in very cordial relations with all the, especially the Southeast Asian countries. Given the situation between among themselves, we also have a very, let's say, a careful approach, and we have diplomatic relations with them. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Ambassador, for the amazing speech. So I'm from Italy, so I know less about the region than the others that speak before me. But I wanted to ask this candidate status, what actually changed for Georgian people when when Georgia achieved the candidate status? So did it was just a change in the political system, or does it actually also affect the people in Georgia? Also, I wanted to ask, recently, we have seen in Europe that, for example, there are proposals to increase the budget for military up to 5% of the GDP. So I was wondering how this protectiveness that now the European Union is doing. So the fact that now Europe is actually closing itself rather than opening to other countries. What is Georgia's stand on that? So does it also support this raise of budget for military operations? How do you see the future, given that Europe is closing itself? Thank you.
Well, is Europe closing its doors? Well, it was just announced that Ukraine might become a member in 2032 or 34. So it's not closing its borders. It's sort of there is still opportunity for becoming a member of the European Union. To answer your question about the candidate status, I mean, you mean what it gave people, or what will it give the people, you mean? Okay, so in 2023, when we received the candidate status, it was after a very sort of a controversial time of struggling to achieve this status. Finally, Georgia was given this status. It was, for the Georgian population, it was a gift, let's say, for all these years that they have very steadily supported the European membership. Because today, if you go to each of European member states, you will hardly get 50% of supporters of the European Union. And you know what the support of the European Union is in Italy. But that's just the nature of the unions, politics, changes, and so on. So this was a reward when they became a candidate status. Now, becoming a member of the European Union, it's, for Georgia, it's that, I guess, recognition that we always strived for, that we are European. It's also safety. It's the safety of the European Union umbrella. It is opportunity to join this one big open European market. It is an opportunity for Georgia to better their economic income, so it will be a sort of a reward for all these years, and it will be beneficial for the country itself, for the population, to be part of the European Union. But we want to be part of the European Union the way we are, within our national identity intact, within our sovereignty, and we are a very strong Christian Orthodox country. So that's also something that goes along with our desire to become a member and what we can offer to the European Union.
Hello, my name is Valerio, and my question is not really regarding Georgia. So some times ago, I was talking with a relative, and I expressed my idea of choosing a career in diplomacy in the future. And this person asked me, what does an ambassador do? So my question is, what are the specific tasks of an ambassador? And how does the day of an ambassador looks like? And what advice would you give to someone who is willing to take a career in this sector? Thank you.
It's definitely not what Netflix Diplomat is about, to be an ambassador. And it's definitely not champagne and the caviar. But ambassador's role is very vital in keeping connection between the countries, in keeping the relations between the two countries. It's the opportunity to present your country. It's opportunity to do awareness of your country, your culture, your religion, your people. It's to be the bridge between the country you're serving and your own country. It's the opportunity to tell what you can offer as a country to the country where you're serving, and vice versa. It's building connections, it's people to people, it's connecting cultures. It's actually quite an important job. As one looks at it, it's not really clear what they do. And this is, I try to explain to my children what it is that I do, and I always try to include them in my activities. And it's apparent that you have to be very active, you have to promote your country. We call it soft diplomacy. There's a political aspect to it. There is an economic diplomacy. Nowadays, it's e-diplomacy. So there's many aspects to being a diplomat, to being an ambassador. Every diplomat that serves in an embassy is somewhat an ambassador because they represent their country. They might not have a title of an ambassador, but they are ambassador of their country. So it's a very important role, and it's a very honorable to be given this opportunity to present your country somewhere else. The sports faces, the artists, singers, they are all ambassadors in some way. So the daily tasks vary from very political, very much reading what happens in the country, writing, your thoughts, your ideas, sending it to your capital, to going to the receptions, to making connections, to talking to people, talking to locals, living the life that the locals live, to understand, to see. And this country gives a wonderful opportunity, and it's kind of set. You can't go anywhere else but live within and among the Italians and experience the true Italian life. So that's very rewarding as an ambassador or as a diplomat.
Hello, Madam Ambassador, and thank you for honoring us today. If we look at the geopolitical location of Georgia, we can see that it's very interesting. There is like Turkey, Armenia, Azerbaijan from the south, and there is Russia from the north. And Russia from the north is the biggest problem. Since the independence of Georgia from the Soviet Union, Russia had been violating the integrity of Georgia many times. Do you think that if Georgia had shifted toward the European Union and toward the NATO, would the European Union and the NATO, in case of, God forbid, a Russian invasion, leave Georgia alone the same way they left Ukraine alone?
Okay, say one more time. So if European Union left Georgia alone, you mean? So I didn't understand your question. So meaning, can you? Uh-huh. Do you think they betrayed Ukraine? That's another conversation another day. But um, we were always on the side of the European Union and the NATO. But unless you're a member of the NATO, it can't protect you. So that happened when we had the 5-day war in 2008. Nobody could do anything. As the European Union membership, I mean, you get support before you become a member, and you get candidate status, and there's lots of steps that you go through to achieve your final membership. But I don't know. No, I don't think Georgia would have been left alone, and I don't think that Ukraine is abandoned, not in any way. It's it's just maybe the tactics and the ways that's done could be debated, but I don't think they have abandoned Ukraine. So no.
Hello, thank you so much for your speech. My name is Ipek and I'm from Turkey. My question will be more on the Asian neighbors and relationships that Georgia has. Georgia, as far as I know, is the active participant in the Belt and Road Initiative of China. And in a potential future that, in the case Georgia doesn't get the support that they need from the European Union, would that maybe create a future where Georgia would more lean into their Asian side and become a more neutral power in the area, as they are very important both for Asia and Europe at the same time?
That means we have to change our constitution, and to change the constitution is quite difficult. So no, there's not going to be a shift in any other existing union membership or such. If not now, later, Georgia will become a member of the European Union. And it is in the Constitution. It's written in the Constitution. So it doesn't even entertain an idea of joining something else. However, I think it should be a kind of a threat to European Union to leave Georgia out there without any umbrella because of our location. So sooner or later we will, and I hope for the open mind of the European Union, that we will become a member of the European Union. It's not that by this I'm saying that membership to the other or the Asian sort of collaborations would not be. It's just we are Europe. We are by location, and we consider ourselves location. So membership to the European Union with wonderful relations to the Asia and the Middle East is what we desire for.
Hello, my name is Mikhail. I'm from Moldavia. And I wanted to ask, so Georgia is kind of located in difficult position since it has no land connection to any European member state. Well, not in a close term. It's unlikely it will have. And also there is the Bosphorus Strait. So in case of security, the Turkey is obliged to close the passage for the ships. There is only Bulgaria and Romania that are directly linked to Georgia through the ports. So I wanted to ask, from security and logistical positions, how you manage being a European ally and European member, hopefully, how you are managing this position. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to see if I can understand your question. So yes, we do not have a land border or a physical border with the European Union. Neither does Turkey and their candidate. That's one. Also, I think that the route that goes through Georgia, coming from Bulgaria across the Black Sea to Georgia, that will move onto the Asian side. I think that's the important part. And that's what we see as a valuable aspect of Georgia. Yes, the Bosporus can be closed and Turkey can do, their part of it, but I think the Black Sea is also very important. And Georgia has a significant coastline on the Black Sea that's ours and the one that was taken from us. So, and the reason for the takeover, the taking of this Black Sea area is the importance of the Black Sea. And the Russian Federation saw the importance of it because they didn't go there because, they had nice oranges and mandarins in that region. They went because they saw a geographic, strategic location, and the fact that they have that coastline to their name is what they desired because the country hasn't progressed. They haven't done anything. It's a bit different from Crimea situation because when the Russians occupied Crimea, they prospered that region. In Georgia, in the Abkhazian region, they did not do that. So it's solely for the purpose of having a Black Sea coast to their name. So it's quite an important sea to consider. And since we have one of the largest kilometers of the coastline, that's the importance of it. What country were you from, sorry? Moldova, okay. Well, the logistical part, I think different routes that there are set, whether it's the by sea or by land. So there's also the trail, the train rail going through. So there's different directions and ways to utilize that route.
Hi. So I asked the previous question. As I said, I'm from Turkey, and I wanted to elaborate what you meant when you said that Turkey does not share a border with any European Union members, because we do.
You do with Bulgaria, yes, I'm sorry.
As well as Greece.
Yes.
Okay. That was what I wanted to ask. Thank you.
I just realized what I said, yes. There's one behind.
Hi, I'm Georgia. I'm from Italy. I wanted to ask about a question about the Georgian community here in Italy. And so the question is, what are the main challenges and opportunities concerning Georgian citizens residing here in Italy, and how is the embassy working to support this community?
So Italy is hosting one of the largest Georgian diasporas. We have close to, unofficially, 50,000 Georgians living in Italy, spread all over, mostly in the southern part of Italy. Well, there are two aspects. There's a consular services that supports Georgian citizens, whether they're coming for tourism reasons or if they're diaspora or not. And the embassy, now we have not had an ambassador here for quite some time. I have just recently arrived about a month or so ago. We are planning many activities with the diaspora. Now we're in the stage of sort of collecting information, who is where, doing what, to support them, to see what are the challenges they're facing. There are Sunday schools There are Georgian dance studios. There are many, especially in the southern region, there are many diaspora organizations, Georgian diaspora organizations, and we periodically have different grants that are given out to diaspora members from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for different projects. It's the matter of awareness. Sometimes the diaspora members are not aware. They're not connected to the embassy, to the social media that we have, and it's at times challenging to disperse the information. But we will be doing a lot of awareness events where we will be telling diaspora about all the upcoming events or grants that are available for them. Diaspora is very important for Georgia. It's been one of the very fundamental sort of supporting organisms of the nation. And so regardless who is in power in the government, diaspora has always been very important. And especially now we have many different opportunities. And if you know of any diaspora organizations and want to connect with the embassy, we would be very happy and glad to connect with them. And one thing is that usually the connotation of embassy is that you only go to embassy if you need a visa or if you need to change a passport. So beyond that, citizens don't think that the embassy can provide anything for you or can be a support. So this is something we're also working to make sure that it is not only for the purely coming to visa and getting the stamp in the passport, but more that we can support and help them. Thank you. Thank you. Very impressive questions. And I know it's an afternoon and to sit here and actually listen. And I see it's different when you sit and look at the faces and everybody's really, really listening and is interested. So it's either you've had too much coffee or I'm talking about something interesting. So thank you for attention. And good luck with your studies. And if you decide to become a diplomat, it's one of the best professions you can have.